The attic mirror. The house was old, practically oozing history. My aunt, bless her eccentric heart, left it to me when she passed. I wasn't sure I wanted it. It was miles from anywhere, and, well, it just felt wrong. But hey, free house, right? The realtor warned me about the attic. Never been opened in years, she'd said, her voice a little too cheerful. Doors locked. Probably best to leave it that way. Of course, that made me want to open it even more. Curiosity, always my downfall. It took me a week to find the key. It was tucked away in a dusty box in the cellar, labeled simply, "Forget." The attic door, once I found my way to it on the top floor, was warped and scarred. The lock was rusty, but with a bit of WD-40, thank you, Dad, for teaching me something useful, it clicked open with a groan that echoed through the empty house. The air in the attic was thick and still, like a forgotten memory. Dust hung heavy, coating everything in a gray shroud. Cobwebs clung to my face as I stepped inside. It was a typical attic, boxes piled high, forgotten furniture draped in sheets, the scent of decay permeating everything. I started sifting through the boxes. Old letters, yellowed photographs, moth-eaten clothes. The usual junk. Then I saw it. In the far corner, partially obscured by a sheet, was a mirror. Not a small vanity mirror, but a large, ornate one, its frame carved with grotesque faces that seemed to leer in the dim light. It was remarkably clean, almost as if someone had been polishing it recently. Something about it made my skin crawl. I should have left it alone. I should have turned around and walked right back out. But I didn't. I pulled the sheet away. The mirror was hypnotic. The glass was incredibly clear, reflecting the dusty attic back at me with uncanny precision. For a moment, I just stood there, staring at my own reflection, noticing the lines of fatigue around my eyes, the way my hair was a mess. Then my reflection blinked. I froze. Did I imagine that? I blinked again. My reflection blinked a fraction of a second after I did. It wasn't perfect. It was off. I heard a whisper. Or thought I did. It seemed to be coming from the mirror itself. I strained to listen, but it was gone. I took a step back. The reflection mirrored my movement, but again, with that unsettling lag. It was like watching a distorted, delayed version of myself. That's when I noticed the smile. My reflection was smiling. A slow, deliberate, wrong smile that didn't reach its eyes. I wasn't smiling. I was terrified. The whisper became a voice. It was my voice, but warped and cruel. It spoke my name, drawing it out in a long, sinister hiss. "Come closer," it said. I stumbled backwards, bumping into a stack of boxes. They tumbled to the floor with a crash. The reflection in the mirror didn't flinch. It just kept smiling. Panic clawed at my throat. I had to get out. I turned to run, but something held me back. I glanced back at the mirror. The reflection waved. Not a friendly wave. It was more like a beckoning, an invitation into the cold, glassy depths. And behind it, in the reflection of the attic, I saw something else. Figures. Shadowy figures lurking in the corners of the reflected attic. Figures that weren't there in the real attic. Figures that were slowly, silently, closing in. I screamed. I don't know how long I screamed. I just knew I had to get away from that mirror. I scrambled towards the door, my heart pounding in my chest. I slammed the door shut and fumbled with the key, locking it with trembling hands. I ran. I ran down the stairs, out of the house, and didn't stop running until I reached the end of the long, overgrown driveway. I haven't been back to the house since. I tried to sell it, but no one wants it. They say it has a bad reputation. An old house, with a locked attic, and stories that whisper on the wind. Sometimes, late at night, I see it in my dreams. The attic, the dust, the mirror. And the reflection, still smiling, still waiting. I know, someday, I'll have to go back. It's calling me. And I think, deep down, a part of me wants to see what's on the other side of the glass. To find out why my aunt warned me not to forget. Because, forgetting, might just be the only thing keeping those shadowy figures locked away in the reflection. And I'm running out of things to forget.